Yo, what's up, guys? Great win last night for the Toronto Raptors, defeating the Washington Wizards 134-125. Now, guys, really good win tonight for the Raptors. Obviously coming out those two difficult losses to the Thunder and the Spurs. Obviously, that really frustrating loss against the Spurs. Raptors respond really well tonight, defeating the Wizards. Obviously, last time the Raptors played the Wizards on Boston, they Washington absolutely spanked the Raptors, putting like 138 points up on us. So this was a very good response for the Raptors to go back into Washington, get this win tonight. But it wasn't all pretty, to say the least, guys. I think we can all agree, that first quarter was not good defensively by the Raptors. Washington, coming out of the gate early, shooting 7 3-pointers in the first quarter alone. They had 12 or 11 or 12 in the first half alone. They were shooting lights out the Wizards, but that was, them shooting the ball well. The Raptors playing horrible perimeter defense, not playing good defense down low in the paint as well. Washington having a lot of straight line drives. Washington would drive the lane and kick it out for easy threes. They were making it very difficult for the Raptors defensively. And give the Wizards credit. They were moving the ball well, dragging the extra defender into the paint, and kicking it out, like I mentioned there. So the Wizards did a very good job offensively, opening up the lanes for guys, opening up shots for them. They were making a lot of easy shots, the Wizards, in the first half, and the Raptors really needed to tighten up defensively. It wasn't a great first half for guys like R.J. Barrett, of course, for Scotty Barnes. I think Quickly and Pirtle and Brandon Ingram were the three guys carrying the Raptors offensively. Quickly had 12, Pirtle had 12 at half. B.I. was really good as well, in double figures as well, guys. So Raptors had some guys doing some really good things offensively. It was where the defense was really hurting the Raptors. But the Raptors did improve as the game did continue to go on. Their defense did tighten up, did have some runs in the game. Washington did start to cool off a little bit from threes, which is very good as well. Raptors did tighten up defensively, like I mentioned there, especially in this second half. Raptors were way better in this second half, guys. In the second quarter, the Raptors were the better team, I felt. Obviously beating Washington 36-31 in the second quarter there. Like I said, tightened up defensively, started getting some offense going. But it was in the second half where I felt the Raptors started to really tighten up defensively, started pushing the ball offensively. R.J. Barrett, who had a really bad first half, had an incredible second half, to say the least, guys. R.J. Barrett finished off the game with 21, had 8 in the third quarter alone. I thought R.J. did a really good job. Instead of settling for his shot, drove the lane a little bit, drew a couple fouls. That's what you want to see from RJ. If he's not making his shots, draw fouls, drive the lane, kick it out if you can. That's what we want to see from him. He has not had a good couple games, hasn't been good. The at least last 3 to 4 games, I would say. He has not been very good for the Raptors. So tonight was a very solid game for him, shooting 8 of 15 from the field, guys. So really solid job by R.J. Barrett as well, adding another 8 or 9 points in the fourth quarter as well. So really liked what I see from R.J. Barrett. The starting 5 all had double figure sets. Only the second time they started together since October or November. So really good to see the starting 5, start to click, get some chemistry as well. In that fourth quarter as well, you saw the Raptors just continue to do what they do quickly. And Jakob Poeltl, when Jakob Poeltl is playing and he's healthy like he looks right now, Immanuel Quickley is just a way better player, with the screen and rolls, with the pick and pops. Really like what I see with those two chemistry-wise. Immanuel Quickley just shoots the ball better from the field, has more points, has more assists. He's just a way better player when he has a bona fide center in the middle of the court there, like Jakob Poeltl, who had a really solid game as well tonight. Jakob had 18 and 10. Quickly had 27, 2, and 11. So this game here was just another example of how those two and their chemistry really clicks. Quickly really struggled when Jakob Poeltl was out those 2 months. So really love what I've seen from Yak and Quickly together. Hopefully Yak's back can hold up. Looked really good tonight. If he could stay healthy for the rest of the season, this will be a very positive thing for the Raptors moving forward, guys. Scotty didn't have the best game. Finished off with 18, had a quiet first half, really good second half, I felt. Same with RJ, like I mentioned there. B.I. was solid with 24, 5 and 5 on 9 of 14 shooting. B.I. loved that finger roll he had in the second after. Made some threes, made some easy mid-range shots. Solid game for Brandon Ingram as well again tonight for him, guys. And then the bench was very quiet tonight. Jamal Shed, he had 7 points on 22 minutes. You had Jacoby, who had 6 points on 23 minutes. Mamu only had 7. Jamison Battle had 6 points on 16 minutes, taking Grady Dick's minutes, of course, because Grady Dick has played himself out of the lineup, unfortunately. Really unfortunate to see Grady Dick not getting 80 minutes after the year he had last year. No CMB tonight, obviously dealing with that thumb issue again. Really hope this kid can deal with that thumb injury till the end of the season. He's probably going to need surgery on it, but this thumb issue has been a persistent issue for this kid for the last 3 months. It's been really frustrating, to say the least. But the Raptors did a great job, guys, defensively in the second half. Offensively, I give the Wizards credit. They got some great young talent. Obviously without Trae Young and Anthony Davis not coming and joining the team till next year, of course, playing, of course, obviously on the team. But, you got George, who had 14. Koulibaly had 14. Vucevic had 13. Carrington had 12. Riley had 19. Good young Canadian kid. Will Riley is there, guys. Watkins had 10. Champagny had 12. Hardy had 11. They had 60 points combined off the bench. What a job the Wizards did. Really impressive performance to them, but they're a young team. They're not a great team yet. Obviously, like I mentioned with Davis and Young next year, they will take a step forward, I feel, but the Raptors really needed to get this win tonight. Get back in the win column. Of course, you got two very difficult opponents coming up with the Knicks and the Timberwolves coming up. Raptors obviously struggle against top 10 opponents. Like, they're 4 for 15 record-wise. 19 and 10 on the road, guys. So that's obviously positive for the Raptors, being a great road team this year. Obviously, there's a big disparity between playing at home and playing on the road. Only one game over 500 on the home court, guys. That is not good for the Raptors. Needs to be better, guys. But the Raptors did a really good job tonight shooting. 60% from the field, 41% from 3, 85% from the free throw line, guys. 41 rebounds compared to Washington's 45. Then you had Washington, who had 12 offensive rebounds. We had 31 assists compared to their 23, guys. 10 turnovers compared to their 14. 68 points compared to 56 for them. We had 20 points off turnovers. That is great to see for the Raptors, guys. 18 fast break points compared to their 5. Another positive there. And then 68 points in the paint, guys. Great job by the Raptors there to get points in the paint. That is due to credit to Jakob Poeltl, guys. He's been great for the Raptors. We'll see how they do in the next game against the Knicks, guys. Then you got to go off to Minnesota. 2 very, very tough games for them. Hopefully they can get a win against one of those 2 teams. Both those teams really smacked up the Raptors recently, guys. Knicks have won 10 in a row against us. Let's hope to God the Raptors can get a win against one of these 2 teams. And let's hope to God they can continue this good run of games they've been playing on. Obviously, losing those 2 games against top 10 teams hasn't been great, but they've won 3 of their last 5. Been playing some good ball. Have to try to stay in that top 5 position. Of course, do not want to get into a play-in spot. Would hate to see that after seeing the Raptors in the top 5 spot all year around, of course. Now, let's see how they do in their next game, guys. We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this game last night, guys. So like this video. Subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Go Raptors, go as always, guys. We'll see you guys on the next episode of Raptors Unfiltered. Ciao, guys.